Go now to DryerBuzz.com and follow at DryerBuzz on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all about the buzz.
Good morning. Hey guys, let's get ready to get this in. I know you're looking for how to get out of bed, but we're going to transition here because the season just changed. Did y'all feel that? I felt that the season absolutely changed. So we're going to change with the season and we're going to start doing Buzz It or Bash It. I know it's my Saturday, but you know, when we do how to get out of bed, we start talking, we get to going, and we start covering all kinds of topics. And so I'm like, you know what? I just need to go ahead and come with it and come with Buzz It or Bash It. And we're on a couple of platforms, but do understand. Now, actually, I'm sitting. Listen, y'all, I am not in the bed. I am actually sitting at the desktop. Listen, keyboard. That's a keyboard. I'm sitting and make it so bad. I'm sitting at the desktop, but I still went and grabbed another phone because I was like, oh, I need to be able to look up this information that I wanted to share. And I'm like, wait a minute, you sitting at the desktop, and I went and got a second phone because I love doing everything. Because one, everything is on my phones, and it's so hard to go from the phone to the desktop. One, it's Microsoft, so it takes forever. But anyway, I'm like, oh my God, let me do this. So I wanted to do Buzz It or Bash It. Like I said, we normally will come in and it's how to get out of bed, and it's dealing with the anxieties and the depressions and all those kinds of things, coming out of trauma and all those things. And we've done it. We started on book 2. We've done book 1. It was 90 amazing episodes. We started on book 2. And even though I feel like everything has been said and done, and we can always go back and reference what we've talked about and what we've been through and so forth. And there are going to be some days, hopefully, that it's a slow news day, and we just do how to get out of bed. But there are always those days when how to get out of bed, we get on a topic because we're trying to figure out, like, what's keeping us from getting out of bed? The world, the headlines, things that are happening around us. It's not even necessarily happening to us, but also is causing us trauma and post-traumatic and so forth. We are post-traumatic. Don't let anybody tell you we are not. Even if you've never personally experienced any of these things, especially in the world of social media, and you scroll your timeline yesterday and you saw all of your post-traumatic friends, and they're telling you, they're bringing you into their trauma, even the exciting stuff. In fact, I saw a post this morning that said, somebody please share with me your good news. Well, the good news is Buzz It or Bash It will become our daily, okay? And then how to get out of bed will become something we do on those lonely, slow days, you know. But luckily, thanks to the friends that I have, hey, guess what? I was able to get out of bed this morning and go ahead and face this week. And I want to talk about it because I want to podcast about these things because I can't get it all in a tweet. I can't even get it all in a Facebook thing. I'm no longer running a website. Although I do have an email newsletter that comes out 3 times a week. That's why on your screen, if you're catching this in a live environment while I tape this podcast, you will be able to go over to DryerBuzz.com and subscribe. Listen, if subscribing ain't your thing, leave me the hell alone, okay? Because you are marginalizing, disenfranchising. You are skewing the numbers. So if subscribing ain't your thing, you only hit that button after we cut off, so that we don't see that you enjoyed the good live content. I'm telling y'all, people in this social media world, they got all kind of hang-ups out here, and then they wonder well, how come we never progress? How come we never get that? Because y'all got some trouble up in your DNA, and it's in your DNA. And I have done the research and found out the reason why we can't fix a lot of this stuff, because it's just who you are. It's in your tribe, it's in your DNA, it's in your hue, it's in your nature, human nature, whatever it is you want to subscribe to. That's the problem. That is the problem. And I'm going to talk about something that we didn't talk about yesterday, 24 hours ago, that we really should have seen more presence on, and I don't know what it's going to take. And I I kept looking at the date. Like, I know this date is something, but I was trying to remember a whole lot of other things. And so I don't know if you depended upon me. And for those of y'all who depended upon me, y'all know I don't apologize and I don't give off any kind of disclaimers. But if you depended upon me, I'm sorry, because I had so much on my calendar for yesterday, and I'm saddened. I'm not sorry. I'm saddened that these things they aren't as interwoven into our lives as they should be. And this is something we're gonna speak about because we're all accountable to this. And you ought to look sideways at a whole lot of stuff. Yeah, I know you're looking sideways at me. I'm just saying. And I know y'all expected me to do it, but I ain't, as men love to say, I ain't a man. Okay, I'm not a man, so I'm trying to figure out how come all the men I were around yesterday, how come this wasn't as important, but one of you were. Now again, because you shared it in social media didn't show it to me till this morning, and I could full on see that you made a point of discussing it yesterday. And I want to talk about Skip Mason, who is making sure that many of these things don't just vanish from our lives. And he has a wonderful group called Skip Mason's Vanishing Black Atlanta, which is truly vanishing. And we're going to talk about some of those things too. But first, before we get into this already 6 minutes, I'm going to bear with me. I'm trying to do a little something with my screen here as I try to bring on some of these topics. There's one. And I think this is another, and then I'm going to release. I know I'm talking to myself, trying to learn some new edits there. All right. Representative Cummings passed, and so you're going to see that all up and down and through your timeline. 68 years old. 68 years old, have been suffering some health challenges, and Representative, it's what, let me see. As you will recall, and a lot of these people, new people delving in politics like myself and others. Hold on. Take a sip of my lemonade. And I was going to let the dog hang out, but he got started before I could even get started. Because he and I need to spend some time together. I've been so busy. But Representative Cummings, as you will know, one of the many people that Trump attacked. So let me go. What I'm going to do is buzz it or bash it. Is we go over to the DryerBuzz page on Facebook, and don't act like you ain't got Facebook. I know that's another thing. People try to act like they're not on Facebook, but then they come up to you and they talk about half the stuff you posted. I thought you weren't on Facebook. Lies. There's a report out there that says 99% of us are on Facebook. You know, if there's a report, I know. So let me go over here. In fact, while I'm over here, let me get this good share on. I'm going to share it, and I'm going to do a watch party. Because, people, you know how they is. They be tripping. Okay, come on, start the watch party so I can get back. All right, so now I'm going to come out of it. Hold on. This is live and interactive. All right, so Representative Elijah Cummings was a civil rights icon, y'all, as well as a strong and passionate advocate for justice. Rest in power, Congressman Cummings. This is a huge loss for the nation, and that is from a Facebook page called Black Voters Matter. You hear the dog shaking it up in there, and I trust this page because I got it off a trusted source, and I shared it on DryerBuzz. Black Voters Matter. And you need to be mindful and careful of Facebook pages that you are liking and sharing, because they are out there mimicking trusted pages. And so that one, I think we can trust just looking at some of the names of the people that have liked the page. And so we definitely want to make sure that we pay homage to this brother who has represented his area, and as you know, caught some slack from calling out Trump. All right, and it's talking about calling out Trump. Let me see if I can do this here. I'm going to put that one over there. Nancy Pelosi shaking that finger at Trump, and apparently he tweeted the photo. She then took the photo and made it I hope you guys can see it. She tweeted the photo, and she made the photo her cover photo on her Facebook. Okay, but Nancy is trying to get all of Washington behind the impeachment of Donald Trump. So we got two things that are going on. We got the Dems debate, which I did not watch. I'm not impressed with many of them, and I'm still trying to figure out why there's still so many. And I understand that we're at a time in our country where everybody ought to be engaged. Hell, we all need to be running for president. But the Dems debate, another one happened. I think it was on, I forget where it was, CNN or maybe CNN, or I don't know if it was, I think it was CNN. I caught a little bit of it online. The discussion that went down my timeline was what they were saying for about HBCUs, and well, every president, every administration has an HBCU initiative. And I think the problem that a lot of our HBCUs face is that they are private schools. Many of them are not state schools, and so they're not doing as well as, even though they're still turning out amazing, excellent product. They all seem to be hovering around. Many of them always teetering on whether or not they need to. And there's always this talk of combining them, and again vanishing. There's so much about us that's vanishing that we need to keep an eye on that. And it really comes down to the fact that these schools have to go to Washington for their survival, simply because we just ain't decided that we're gonna tax ourselves enough, that they have such a stronger footing and foundation. No matter the students and things like that they turn out. Just go look at the endowments. That's where it is. And so therefore they're beholden to Washington no matter who the president is, because if things change, things change by way of a government funding that goes to schools, and these schools all schools depend on that. But all schools have other ways to supplement depending on who's in office and how important education is to that person that's in office. And you see who we have in office at the time that I'm recording this. For those of you in the future, Donald Trump is president, and education was not his strongest point, and even those he's placed on that. And so even his administration has a HBCU initiative. But anyway, back to the impeachment and back to the Dems. I'm still trying to envision one of these people. When I talk about envision a president, I envision the person that has to go around the world and represent us. I know what we have currently, but we can't. Hillary made that mistake. Like, there's no way I have to truly campaign against this guy. There's no way he's going to win. But he found even though that wasn't his base, he found a base of absolute hate. Now, the man is ignorant, no doubt. I mean, he can't prove that otherwise yet. But we might be facing a second term with him, simply because we're still looking at such a broad base. We're still looking at each person coming with a few issues here and there. Then you got a whole bunch of talking points, and nobody really stands out. It's like, I think Biden, I know he got back in the race because there was this overwhelming demand, but he doesn't look good in this race. He doesn't look good without Obama by his side, and unless he's gonna have a vice president named Barack Hussein Obama, it's like, I don't know that he's gonna win over. Of course, people are concerned about Bernie Sanders and the health issues, but it's like, hey, once you become president, you are kept alive. Let's just say that. So you got to, think about that. I mean, with all the things that both Bernie and Biden have ran a number of times and never really truly impressed the American people to make them president. And Biden is like, that was a good team for him and Barack Obama. But see, they, in my opinion, and only my opinion, I guess, made this deal with Hillary. It's like, okay, you go ahead and concede. We're going to hand this to you. And they did. They did their 2 terms, and they handed it off to her. And she lost. And she's still running around here trying to figure out, like, well, I think I lost because of this. I mean, at this point, you need to know why you lost. You don't appeal to the people. But actually, and you got all the votes, but you didn't get the electorate. So you weren't elected, And then at the same time, you conceded at a certain time when it probably could have been fought. So, and she's still thinking, like, maybe I could have said this. You still don't even align with the reasons people said they really didn't want to vote for you in the first place. I mean, you lost to Donald Trump. So, and now she's thinking over there talking about Trump better not make her get back in the race. And I'm like, I don't think we're not trying to hear that. Go sit down, go sit down, go sit down. So that is going on. If you didn't catch the Dems debate, if you want to pundit to make it make sense, because Kamala, I don't see her as president. Cory Booker, and then a lot of times when we have such a wide base like that, we think, oh, well, they want they want to be selected vice president, but nobody gets in this race to be vice president. They get in the race to win, to see if they have a base strong enough to propel them into the office of president. And while I think that, yeah, it's time to have a woman president, simply because women are brilliant, smart, and I mean, I just think it's time. But with what are we working with? What are we working with? And it's just not enough. And I'm hearing a lot of talking points and people trying to say what we all want to hear. But my thing is this, and this is where I drew the line. And I was like, I'm not even gonna watch this debate. I'm like, all of these people, for the most part, are currently elected to a office right now. And yet they come before us now saying they got these great plans. And I'm like, okay, well, show me where you have done that, right? And first of all, let me say this about talking to us about issues close to us right now, which are the police issues. We know that the president don't necessarily handle that. Barack Obama, while president, had something called 21st century policing, where he worked closely with a number of mayors to figure out what was going on, because it is those mayors who appoint these police chiefs, who appoint all them other positions up under there, including the training, which we deem to be the most problematic part. Like, where are these other cops who are out there killing people? Where are they getting their training from? Are they coming through the same training? But then we see this National Police League and hear some of the speaks that they have. And I'm like, wait, are they having separate training somewhere? Because we're not understanding. And this thing is not being solved. In fact, those mayors who served on Barack Obama's 21st century policing, all of them almost immediately had issues within their districts. All of them. Baltimore's mayor was on that panel. Georgia, we had a top cop on that 21st century policing, and I don't know where he vanished to. Talk about vanishing. What was it? Sacramento was on there. They had an issue. All of them, it was almost like a retaliation type thing. Never mind what went on in Ferguson and other places and things like that. So, and believe it or not, I'm just going to talk about this a little bit. There's something called the law of the gun, and this is a law that's not practiced in the United States. And the top cops, chiefs, and top cops were taken pretty much around the world to Iceland, Amsterdam, and a couple other places where they just don't experience this kind of retaliation going on, genocide going on with the police department, where the numbers are sky high in the first few months of the year of shootings like this. And so they took these top cops over there, and they got to meet with other top cops. I mean, like police departments where just because you join the police doesn't mean you get a gun. You don't get the will to kill. You just don't get it. And go out there. This is a YouTube video that there was a documentary made about these people going and visiting these other countries and seeing countries where they have violence, they have drug problems, they have bad communities, good communities, and so forth. But their policing tactics, their people are not over policed and under protected, and they had tactics, and one of them was, I think it's called either 17 feet or 21 feet, and the fact that everybody doesn't get a gun, and they never roll up just one cop or two, or if it's depending on the kind of situations, they got all these tactics of de-escalation. And so they tried to tell, but you know what happened when they took the top cops, and the top cops didn't look anything like their communities. Of course, that it don't translate, right? When you only pouring into a certain sector who look like the killers and they gonna come back and stop killing? No. So when they came back, we just didn't. The de-escalation did not happen, and it still has not happened. When we see a young woman gunned down in 4 seconds, and then we juxtapose that to a video on social media where there's a guy, he gets all day to taunt a police officer, swing at a police officer's weapon in his hand, okay? And it's just like, it's like the hypocrisy. It's like, I can't even I don't even know the word. Even after we take the videos and put them side by side, you can take a video of white officers dealing with a white person, and the amount of time that they are able to, they amount of time given to that situation. You could take that one video and you could take all of the killings happened this year, last year, or the last 5 years, and run that in a side by side video, and the black people are dead. It just, that's how fast they're dying. And the video over here, the cop is like, please stop. Please don't. Come on, let's not do this. I mean, there's a video out. Let me tell you about some of the videos. Let me take Nancy Pelosi off here because she ain't doing a damn thing about it either. So let me put that up there right quick. Okay, so let me do this. Okay, so there was a video, and this is like back in the beginning of YouTube, because it was like the beginning of YouTube. First of all, there was a whole ass TV show called on True TV or something like that. That I'm like, there's some. First of all, television period. Television period is like the basis of the hypocrisy, where you can literally like look at it and see like all like the show Snap, Cops, all of these things. These people, this is enough content out there for them to have all these television networks to show the ills that people do, that white people do, that non-black people do, and just opposed to the innocent deaths of black people. And it's like, nobody, like, who doesn't see this? And it's the scary part is that people see it, but they still want this favor. They still want this benefit, right? When you hear this thing where it says blacks are twice as likely to die, that means that everybody's dying. Cops are out here killing everybody. They're just killing black people at twice the number. So where's the rest of the number? Why do these people, they don't protest it? And Steve Harvey said something so wrong on his show this morning. He was like, this didn't happen in a white neighborhood. Stop telling people it don't happen in a white neighborhood, because it does. It does. We had one right here in the neighborhood down the road. There was a guy, police showed up and they shot him, and the family was like, they argued that night, but the next day it was like, okay, clean that up. Let's go back. The neighbors are watching. It's daytime. I mean, I went out one thing. There was a guy who went over to the grandparents' house. He wanted some money for whatever and got into it with the grandmother and the step grandfather and tried to kill them both. And they were out there. They were like, get this cleaned up, this neighborhood. They want to go jogging in the morning. We got to be out of here. And I was like, and because, I know some of the news crews. I'm like, and the dude was like, they telling us to pack it in. I'm like, what? Y'all not going to be out here all night? Y'all not going to be out here for the next 3 days at this house? Okay. All the white shirts. Do you realize all the white shirts showed up to this crime? That means they got out of bed and put on their best uniform to come out here and investigate this. Who lived here? Because it was on the golf course, mind you. And I'm like, wait a minute, whose house is this? They're telling us to pack it in. We got to go. Tape has to come down before sunup. No, this can't even be a crime scene in the morning. Oh, okay, but I'm going to leave it up. I don't know about y'all. I'm coming back. I came home at 4 o'clock in the morning. I got up about 4 o'clock and I went right back to that neighborhood, and you could not tell there was a double attempted murder, one homicide that happened there. The grandfather died. The grandmother was clinging to life, and I don't know if she survived. Ain't no family rolled up. Ain't nobody rolled up crying. Ain't nobody, where's my mama? Where's my daddy? None of that, honey. And they would tell them folks out there jogging. They was jogging like, who you? I'm telling you, for sale, so clean that up, sell it, do whatever you got to do, right? neighborhood association will be here in the morning. All this has to be gone. Hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. It's a hypocrisy, but you can't even deal with the hypocrisy of it because it's like we just dying. And this young woman, and they over there now trying to come up with a defense for this man where she pointed a gun. Okay, there was some rustling on her back on her outside of her house. There was some rustling out. She had a license to carry. She was getting ready to protect her castle. Oh, she doesn't get castle doctrine because he was a cop. Well, he didn't specify he was a cop. He said, "Put your hands up." You don't know who telling you to put your hands up. She only had 4 seconds to even like how fast is the speed of sound? Did she hear it yet? She heard a noise. She's like, "Wait, let me figure out what's going on out here." Dead. And now you gotta tell people, "Oh, please don't neglect jury duty." Make sure you go, honey. The grand jury is already sitting. They just bring the cases in. You don't know who they are, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, it's another police officer." And Lord, let me tell y'all, Crump. Somebody said, Crump has a book out there called Open Season. Well, why Crump ain't closed it? He been out there long enough. He's got these black women taking him on tour, this Black Pain tour, taking them to here. They just took him down to Steve Harvey Sand and Soul. I'm like, ladies, can y'all stop? Y'all don't need to be on tour. You need to be in Washington every day. And I'm not gonna tell you what you need to do. I'm not even gonna tell you I'm gonna tell you what you need to not do. Is y'all don't need to be like on tour. Stop going around to these chicken dinners. Stop going around to these grand hotels talking about this thing. And come on and go talk to these young people. Go get some of these people on the police force. There was a time, history needs to repeat itself, where black people had to become the law. You got to become lawmakers. We just lost a lawmaker. And they've been lawmakers for like 50 years, and yet we're still dealing with some of the same things that they ran for office. And I'm like, I can't take it. Buzz it or bash it. I mean, literally, like buzz it or bash it. Like, it's exhausting. It's exhausting because it's like, and let me tell you, and black women are arming themselves because there's so much aggression towards us right now in this Trump era, and from everybody, y'all. You have no idea. You don't even know. You walking past somebody in a grocery store, let alone trying to go to the golf course. Now I know that's a leap there, but I'm just saying. I went to blog about. A couple of years ago, I went to blog about black women who just trying to go golfing. And when I tell you the aggression shown by white males on the golf course, like they call it microaggression, just means that the black woman didn't fight back. I got this club in my hand. I don't want to catch a case. But I remember we were in the clubhouse and everybody was getting ready. They was pairing up to go tee off and different things like that. And this white woman walked by me and she whispered, she's like, "I'm so glad," I'm about to whisper. She said, "I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm so glad you guys are here." And by the time I could turn around, she was speeding off. And I'm like, damn, you could have come over and just talked to us. And, it was because it was a black woman's day out kind of thing, right? And the white guys, they walked by, they was huffing and puffing, like we just all in the way or whatever, And there was one, there was this group, right? They had the little golf trail or whatever. So here's what they did, and I guess they call it cute, but it was aggression. And let me tell you, it's a lot of things y'all think are cute, but it's aggression. You just don't know it. They didn't tell you this aggression. They told you maybe it was an icebreaker. There's no ice. There is no icebreaker. Okay, you ain't breaking the ice. We ain't breaking the ice. We ain't trying to break the ice. Okay, they park instead of parking or pulling over. They literally turned their golf cart across the little road path, across the path that you drive the golf carts on. Literally, like at the hole that they were at, rather than pulling off to because I was with the team that was a couple of holes behind them. We coming up on them, and so they lollygagging at the hole, and they have parked their golf carts across the path where we would have to go around because you already know this is their thing, okay? And I'm like, damn. And it was like, oh, and it was just, it was blatant, just blatant. And I'm just saying, buzzing the back. I know that's a peace among the world, but I'm just saying this is what's going on. And that was before Trump. Hell, that was doing Obama. And hell, it might have been doing Bush. I don't know. It was like, it's just, these are the things that go on. And we can say, let me tell you, if you are out there, you think it's all just because of Trump, you're going to be sad when the next president get in there because you're going to realize it didn't go nowhere. It didn't go nowhere in its life. And let's go on to why I think this is too oftentimes the case is, let me do this. I'm gonna do one more thing, then we'll just get back to some regular topics. There we go. Alrighty, Man March. This is one of the reasons why we have yesterday, October 16th. We're recording this on the morning of the 17th, and I was scrolling and I saw it and I kept thinking October 16th, and I kept thinking like, man, what is that? And why was it so hard for me to remember? Simply because, fellas, y'all just don't do enough, and I know y'all can't. I'm tired. Oh my God, I'm so tired of this. It was considered the Day of Atonement. Let me go over here. Let me read to you what it's supposed to be. And it's, look, come right up on my screen because I was there. Okay, yesterday was October the 16th, the 24th anniversary of the Million Man March, called and led by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in 1995. Now, my son, no, this is me. My son was born September 2nd, and I was supposed to go, but you just had a baby. You ain't going nowhere. In fact, I ended up having some surgery a couple days before that, so I was recuperating and still trying to get up out of here and go to the march, simply because I was involved on the media side of it years prior. In fact, years prior, I was one of the first to bring it. The fact that Honorable Louis Farrakhan wanted to call together a million men, I was one of the first to put it on the airwaves, and for that honor. So it is also the Holy Day of Atonement that Black people establish and celebrate every year. Now let me tell you something, okay? And here's the thing with Black people is, Black people will shade, like they'll go out here. They first of all, I don't know. They feel like some of these other holidays were drop down on the stones with the Ten Commandments, right? They literally do. It's in the DNA. Black people can be persuaded by perception of any damn thing. But anyway, so they feel like these other holidays, like no other holidays man made. Ain't nobody come up with that's this whole religion thing that goes on in America. And I don't know about the diaspora, but let me just talk about these Black folk I live with here in America. They will swear you down any other holiday, okay, any other holiday, but let Black people try to do something conducive to their own uniqueness, and they got all hella stuff to say, okay, disagreement and everything. And immediately after the Million Man March, man, hours after, days after, weeks after, it was absolutely wonderful. Now, there were some immediate controversies, as there always are. But many, I mean, you just noticed an immediate difference because the visual that young men, old men of all ages got to see that, whoa, look at us, look how we swarm together. Look at our swarm. Look at our, I don't even want to use the word tribe no more, because tribe done got us in a whole lot of trouble. But swarming, right? Look at the swarm. And for many of them, it was so eye-opening to them to see that. And I know, having had a child born in 1995, his being a male, coming up, born the year of the Million Man March, and all the historic things that happened in his 24 years, and being the same age as the Million Man March, then having a Black president, and then seeing leadership in his chosen career literally change to faces that look like him, as well as maintaining and understanding or learning that what diversity truly means. Now, I don't like to talk diversity because it too many times we perceive diversity as we need to downplay our unique trait. It's called covering. There's a book out there by Kenji Yoshino. Kenji Yoshino did the research about how all these different segments, like gender, sex, all whatever that thing is, national origin, that people are not supposed to discriminate about all these different things. Kenji Yoshino did the research and found out that many of these things that how we identify ourselves, that we disenfranchise our own selves first. That is why others are able to do it. So he was saying that women oftentimes are the problem for women. That's not to say the other. I'm not. This not a. This not an or thing. This is an and. Hispanics, gays, blacks, what is Asians, all of those things. However it is you want to identify and move about the planet. That first thing that you identify, there are problems within that you must first overcome before you deal with all of these other things. So even when we talk about policing, issues that we have with policing, now we all know that by and large that policing is a good thing. But the visibility, the optics, let's use that word, the optics that we have on the bad things that are done by a very few cops, right? It plagues the entire population of police, right? To the point was, I told you, a police officer that I know pulled up next to me, and I could not even bring myself to look, all I saw was black and white over there, right? And this is a person who I know him. We're neighbors. And he was trying to say hello. But he had to break down the walls first to even get my attention. And I realized that was him, and I'm like, and I couldn't even let my guard down enough to engage with him, to the point where, and 2 days in a row, and now I know he's like all in his feelings, like, dang, what is going on? Because we all out here, we trying to figure out what's going on. But how is it that, first of all, Juneteenth, black people, like, you can't even get them to, like, can we pop? They so afraid of this, the slave narratives, the slave syndrome. And I'm gonna tell you right now, we don't even have slave syndrome, because if you knew what slave syndrome really was, slave syndrome means don't let that ever happen again, right? If you look at the progress that black people made in before, during, and after, and coming through it, there's a reason they came through it. If we had that if you had an ounce of that syndrome, we'd be far off than we were. Because, I mean, if you think about where people think, you ask people about black history, and they just don't get it. I mean, how could you in one breath say HBCU? That's historically means that, and you look at the time, your HBCU was founded when? You're going to say 18 something, right? But your mind, you don't have the optics to understand when that was. You don't have the optics to understand when that was, because you don't take. Yeah, I know everybody going to homecoming. It's homecoming after homecoming after homecoming after homecoming. But when you go get all your homecoming bling and you put that 18 on there, there's nothing in your mind that can recall back to the first one, the first two, the first three, the five, the church, the organization, to the founding of that, because you don't realize that was just 2-3 generations ago. I'm just saying. I mean, we were in the kitchen the other day talking about Mary Minerva Turnbow Malone Poro. I'm trying to think. Pope. Was it Pope? Pope and Roberts, right? She had a bunch of husbands. I'm trying to remember all her names. Well, she's the sister that trained Madam C.J. Walker. So the millions that Madam C.J. Walker made, Madam C.J. Walker learned to make those millions from a millionaire. But you only have the optics that, Madam C.J. Walker was the first millionaire. Well, this woman, one of the reasons she is not considered the first, because she took her millions and she took her money and hired 75,000 people. Okay. So she's not, we don't call her boss, because she didn't have, like, all of her money. She was out there creating jobs, opening institutions, right? So those women, they weren't the rich bitches. Okay, we only celebrate the rich bitch, and I'm sorry to use that language. Hopefully, you had an earphone in, and I don't mean to just drop words on that, but I'm just saying because for the past 20 years, that's been bitch has been the brand for women. Okay, they had to go to that in order to get some quote unquote respect, right? So I want to go back to the Million Man March. It was October 16th was the 24th anniversary, which means 2020. And this is the thing about our folks who think ahead. This is the thing about our people who think futurism, right? You had a Million Man March in 1996, and so the 25th reunion would be 2020. See, that tells you right there how ordained it was, because God and the universe functions on numbers and time, right? Time TikToks by what? By numbers. The 25th. Did they think 25 years from now in 2020? Yes. Yes. That's why they were like, 95, not 96. Was it 95? It was 95. We got to do this in 95. So by 2020, we're 25 years into this. What did they want to be 25 years into? Here's what they wanted to be 25. You want to be, by 2020, you want to be 25 years into a national day of a holy day of atonement that black people establish and celebrate every year. During this day, we are to follow the 8 steps of atonement as pictured below. How many of you kept up those 8 steps? It is in the spirit of atonement that we should, and by we, they mean the men, but that men should. Let me read it like that so y'all understand. Because when we say we, y'all be thinking, oh, let the women. Well, let the women. Oh, the women gonna handle it. The women gonna do this. And the women. I get so tired. It is in the spirit of atonement that men should ask all that men have offended in the past to accept man's apology, and to ask all of us for your forgiveness. I'm gonna go back and read that again. So y'all, it says October the 16th. Was the 24th anniversary of the Million Man March, called and led by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in 1995. It is also the holy day of atonement that black people establish and celebrate every year. During this day, men are to follow, because it said we, and it's a Million Man March. So fellas, I'm assuming it's y'all, okay? We're going to assume it's men are to follow the 8 steps of atonement as pictured below. It is in the spirit of atonement that men should ask all that men have offended in the past to accept man's apology and to ask them for forgiveness. The rest of us. Long live the spirit of the Million Man March. Now, the 8 steps of atonement were: number 1, someone must point out the wrong. Y'all got that down? Y'all can stick on that one for a minute. Number 2, you must acknowledge the wrong. Number 3, confess the fault. First to Allah, God, whomever you subscribe, then to those offended. 4, repentance, a feeling of remorse or contrition or shame for the past conduct which was wrong and sinful. Number 5, atonement, meaning to make amends and reparations for the wrong. 6, forgiveness by the offended party, to cease to feel offense and resentment against another for the harm done. 7, reconciliation and restoration, meaning to become friendly and peaceful again. 8, perfect union with Allah, God, and with each other. Those 8 things. Ladies, the men, the man, the boy, or the uncle, the brother around you, get him to pause just for a minute, even if it's a day late, because you can't do it all in a day. But here we are, and I know you're going to mention, here's what's going to happen. You're going to mention the Million Man March, and then you're going to get the backlash and the lashback and the debate, and, well, they did this, and, we're not together, and people are stuck on this and stuck on that and all that. But listen, you go, what about us? Let's just with us? Do you feel like it's anything? I mean, I know you ain't went 12 months and ain't offended nobody. I mean, come on now. We just did a whole what couple of hundred podcast episodes trying to get out of bed. So it's some offending going on around here. But here's the thing too. If you take that to say, oh well, it's all about black and white or trumping this or hating that. No, it starts at home because until you build up your own strong foundation, it can't be torn down. Going out in the world, when you can have that kind of strength on your own, going out in the world can't do nothing to you. When you have the optics of the swarm of men that went to Washington, never mind those who did it. And let me tell y'all, before the Million Man March in DC, I got to see it what happened the whole year before the Million Man March, the way they communicated, because you wasn't a bunch of commercials out there, but the way they gathered the men was a whole year prior to that. Never mind the year prior to that, which all the planning went on, but the whole year prior to that, they went from city to city gathering. They had these gatherings in the city. And here in Atlanta in 1995, talk about vanishing, it took place in the old Omni International. It took place at the Omni, which was the Omni Coliseum, which is now, it was torn down. And in that time, think about this now, in the time of the first meeting, the gathering the gathering before the Million Man March, one took place in Atlanta, took place in a number of cities, took place in a venue, a coliseum that in a time span has been torn down, almost immediately after that, torn down, and another coliseum built up and has already been there 20 years. Okay? Not only that, in that time span, a coliseum was built next to that coliseum, a stadium, a dome was built next to that one. This is what I'm talking about. This is how long you should have been celebrating your manhood. Okay? A year before the Million Man March, 1994. Let's do that. In 1994, Farrakhan went around the country gathering men. A stop was held in Atlanta in the Omni Coliseum, which was then torn down and a new arena erected. Next to that, a full-on dome was built and it was torn down. Next to that is the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which was built and probably going to end up being torn down because that thing got so much bad luck on it. They probably going to end up having to tear that down and they tore down churches in order to build that. And then anybody went over there and blessed it, throw no holy water on it or nothing. So maybe y'all need to go over there and atone. Go over there and help them atone. And maybe since ain't nobody gonna be in the stadium this weekend, they could invite the brothers to come on down and watch the game, and y'all can all atone together. But don't fight it. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. Swarm again. Swarm again and go through these 8. Someone must point out the wrongs. 2, acknowledge the wrongs. 3, confess the fault. 4, repentance. 5, atonement. 6, forgiveness. 7, reconciliation. And 8, perfect union. Perfect union with your God. And those are the 8. The Million Man March has a Facebook page. I'm not gonna tell you to go to their Facebook page. I'm gonna tell you to go over there to the final call because I think Zuckerberg has banned Farrakhan off of Facebook, but the Million Man March is over there on Facebook. But please go. Let me see if I can get you their website. I'm not gonna send you over there to Facebook. Let's see. Wait. Okay, I'm sorry. Another link I saw. I'm seeing VanguardTVN.com. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that link is. But this is a Facebook page and there's a group as well. But definitely go over there. But there's a lot of information on here. And if you want to see some of the video, if you want to go back to the speeches, remember one of the notable speeches, all the speeches were absolutely notable. But if you want to go back and check out some of the speeches, they have those there as well as some of the other things. And apparently on October 13th, they held something in Chicago Let me see. I'm just scrolling the page and scrolling the page. There is some of the I was gonna say for Maya Angelou stood out. There was there was several young brothers that brought a lot. But think about that, and if you have a son and you don't have anyone around you, maybe you've got a young son, and you don't see it, you don't feel the spirit of it. I mean, I remember. I'll tell you. As a matter of fact, like I said, I had just given birth in September. My son was just months old, and I remember I was in a grocery store, and Lord, it was time to breastfeed, and I was trying to check out, trying to go home, and these two brothers literally came up to me, and they was like, "Sis," and they said they just come, back from the march, help me out, let me help you out, and they paid, they finished my groceries, and I went and sat down and did my little nursing thing, took care of my son, and they was like, "Whoa, where does that happen?" Put the groceries in the car. I was like, and they was like, "Want to pay it for it from the march." I saw several of my brothers come home. I can talk about Bruce Griggs. Bruce Griggs, as a matter of fact, Bruce Griggs comes out of public safety, and he started a group. And I think, and so for the past 24 years, Bruce Griggs has done a group. Our brother Derek Bozeman has Let Us Make Man, which is a conference for young men, and they're doing more and more initiatives. It used to be an annual conference. Now they have ongoing things. My son went to the conference, went to the first one and another one. And you already know the type of young man that I have, because I made sure that this young man had amazing options. I made sure he maintained a relationship with his father. I made sure that he had mentors. Y'all don't sleep on mentoring. I'm telling y'all, don't sleep on mentoring. And I know, let me talk to the single moms out there, and I don't wear that hat, and I don't say it often, but I was. But I was like, look, this relationship thing ain't working out, but let me get me a village, right? Let me get me a village. And part of that village was, I'm going to have a multi-generational household. And I went to my parents. I literally went to my parents, because I was a single mom. And I was like, listen, I just remember you guys had an amazing, because my parents were divorced. They had a support system. My grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, we had family. And I'm like, this thing it's changing here. I'm out here trying to raise these kids, and sorry to tell you this, relationship thing ain't working. So, I'm probably going to be single, but I'm not trying to be a single mom. And I literally went to both my parents, and I was like, Mom, and Dad, this is what I need. At the time I was out there trying to do climb the corporate ladder, and jobs, they put all kind of demands on you that have you neglect your children. And I've been telling them, listen, I'm not neglecting my children now. Look, this work thing, I'm good. And they were like, you're good. What do we have to do? Well, I'm a mom first, And yes, I was able to do a lot of things, and a lot of opportunities came my way. But I still had to say no to a lot of stuff, because my priorities were my children. But there was a time when I was like, well, let me build a village, so I don't have to always say no to things. And I went to my mom, and I was like, I need some help, because the time in the 90s, it was bad in the 90s. And in fact, my daughter and I were talking the other day. We passed by a place we used to live, and I was like, man, we had some good times over here. She's like, no, we didn't. She's like, Mom, you don't understand. These kids over here, man, they used to try to bully us. And I'm like, that's why I trained y'all. I was for y'all. Somebody come at y'all go back at them, And that's why I always told them, y'all got each other. Can't nobody bully you. Can't nobody bully you. This is ours, And but I said that was a time when I got to see them come together as siblings. And she's like, but then when we moved over here, man, it was like this and this and that. And so we did that reminiscent thing. And I remember when it wasn't so great, and I was like, Mom, listen, I don't want what's going on in the neighborhoods and in the communities to get a hold of my kids. My kids, they need to come home to somebody. My mother was like, okay, all right, let me do this. And so, and my dad, I remember, I would have to travel. And let me tell you, Dad was a granddad. Mom was a grandma. In fact, it was a conversation. Listen, I remember talking to my mom. I was like, I need you to be this kind of grandmother. Because, we went in the area where, the glam mom, she wasn't a glam mom. That glam mom thing's going on. It's like, no, I need you to be like a Medea. We need a Medea up in here. And not even that. We need you to be a Bessie. And I need a Bessie, and I need a Gertrude, and I need a Sam. I need a Joseph. Because my son's named after all the men. My son has 5 names after all the men, because when people start calling your name, and I love that when my son says his name, he will say, "Oh." And I went to my mom and I said, "Listen, I need a Bessie, I need a Gertrude." I went to my dad and I said, I need a Sam, and I need a Joseph. This is what this was. I need all of this. And I went to my cousins and my aunts and all this kind of stuff. And man, we crafted a village, and that's how you do it, moms. I remember talking to a young woman round about the time of this, after this Million Man March, probably about 2005. This young woman, because when I would go out in the community and do things, I would always have my kids with me until they got to the point where it was like, Mom, we don't want to go. We don't want to volunteer no more. We want to stay home, want to play, and all this kind of stuff. Because I was a volunteer. I was a stakeholder. I wasn't a volunteer. Because in the optics and the minds of people, they always think that a volunteer is somebody that comes from somewhere and does something. I lived where I volunteered, right? No, I live here. They're like, where are you from? No, I live here. You live here too? I live here too. Just take a little bit more pride in what I've got. I'm going to show you how to do that, right? And people would ask me as a mom, like, how are you doing this? How are you doing this? And I met this young woman because I didn't walk around brokenhearted or with any kind of malice toward dads and all that kind of stuff, right? And so, and most of you know that because when I did radio, we talked about this. And I have, anybody need a referral? I got a great lawyer for you if you're dealing with any of this stuff. And got a great organization who's trying to heal from this stuff that I can refer you to. So this young woman came to me, and she had moved here. She was basically caught up in a relationship. And she was trying to say she was doing it because she wanted the son to be close to the dad. But I mean, this whoever this guy was, he wanted nothing to do with them. He was just absolutely breaking the heart. And I don't know where he was literally drawing the line. I don't think he was drawing the line with his child. I think there was just so much drama between them. And she was talking to me, and she was like, I can't decide whether to go home. And she had, I was like, what's home? And she had her parents, uncles. I said, wait, you got a son who has uncles, and you here letting him go through heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak, arguing with this man, trying to make this man be a dad who's not ready. He's not ready. And it has happened. And I'm not saying, and I talked to her about this whole thing of atonement, that there's a level of atonement that we as moms have to do when the relationships don't work out. You got to let that go, because you can carry that, and you're going to carry it, because women don't like to have made a mistake. And I'm sorry, that's what that was. But, we live too fast. We go too far. And I remember telling her, you got to let this go. And like, you got to go home. You got to go home, because you got to wake up and think about your son. You're feeding him heartbreak after heartbreak. And not only that, he's watching how his pain is what you're feeling, and you don't want to raise that child. You don't want to raise that child who has watched their mom subject herself to this over and over and over again. He needs to see you full of life. He needs to see you without stress. He needs to see you being kind to yourself. He needs to see you not chasing this dude, not rolling up on this dude, not calling. He don't need to see you texting and calling this dude and all this kind of stuff, because they don't have a connection right now. Because right now, while that's his dad, that's a man that has hurt you. That's all he can see right now, because he don't have any other kind of optics. But I'm telling you, let that go. Pack it up. Go home. Put him in a loving environment, and then remove yourself from the situation. And if dad and he are going to have a relationship, you're going to have to get out of it. You're going to have to let that go. I'm telling you. You don't need to raise children. I mean, you fight for yourself, and you stand up and you defend yourself, but you don't self-inflict. We don't self-inflict on this thing, because you raise children who then self-inflict. I'm just saying, a little bit of hindsight from having raised 4 kids is like, to this day, as my kids still get like a little bit of glimpse of what was based on what they saw. Like, wait, what? You were dealing with this when? Oh, I was dealing with it. I was always dealing with it. I never let it stop me. I never let it stop me. It hurts. It hurts like hell. You don't know. But and even to that fault, I feel like I probably should have shown a little bit more. Like, cause y'all don't really know some of this stuff. I ain't like Tyler Perry. I ain't running around here putting it all up in the press release about, being homeless and all that kind of stuff. I ain't made $1 billion. I can't talk about that yet. Because I didn't have time to sit in it. It's like he had time. Tyler Perry could sit in his car and eat his cookies. With his mama living down the road. I'm like, I had 4 kids. It's like, no, let me fix this like right now. Let me make this transition so that they don't even know nothing happened, right? Oh, mom, we got something new. Honey, it's all new. Okay? Like they don't even understand. But kids are processing. Kids are processing. They see the worry. They just realize like, wait, all of a sudden everything was new. Where'd all the old stuff go? Honey, mommy fixed that. Mommy did that. Mommy did that, and you ain't missing a beat because that's what mommies do. You're not going to miss a beat up in here. But anyway, let me move on. And I say that everybody, listen, that's not just my story. Everybody has those stories. And we have to take time. And there's so many times in the year, and I don't know why we give pushback on it. I don't know why we didn't stop and pause and let the world know. Do you think if that officer rolling up on Atiana had the optics of the swarm and the swarm happening, and I'm calling it the swarm. I'm calling it the swarm. If that officer, because if every year on October the 16th, you put those optics out there of how black men swarm, right? If you put that out there, you think he would have rolled up in that neighborhood and had that gun and shot her in 4 seconds? You think he would have did that if he had the optics of what a swarm looked like? Like, wait a minute. If I put this uniform on and if I go to that precinct and I get in that car and I go down that street and because he knows there's no swarm, because you thinking, well, they came home and we don't know where the money went. They passed the buckets and the barrels and we don't know where the money went. Y'all need to stop. Y'all need to stop. Cause he knows who's swarming. That officer, he ain't scared. Cause he can hear bzz. He knows what the swarm looks like for him. He knows they are swarming to find his defense in this. And he knows half of those that swarm, if not more, look like us. Gonna swarm and throw this young lady under the bus. He knows she's gonna be thrown under the bus. He just seen Judge Huggable come up out of her damn judge's chambers and hug the last murderer. He knows what the swarm looked like because y'all don't want to swarm. You don't want to swarm on October the 16th. You don't want to swarm on Juneteenth. You don't want to swarm because you thinking you don't want to swarm at Kwanzaa. Because, those are some black made-up holidays. Hell, every holiday on the calendar is a made-up, sanctioned by a community. Because y'all don't want to swarm, buzz it, or bash it an hour into this thing. Let me get on to the next. Y'all, where's your swarm? Your swarm is your optics. Barack Obama, 8 years in the White House, 21st century policing, tried to get folks to swarm on Beer Summit Day. And yes, I tweeted the president. I'm like, you could have handled this at Beer Summit Day, but you coward. You backed off. You had a Beer Summit Day with Skip Gates and officer, what's his name? The officer that arrested Skip Gates, told Skip Gates to step outside of his own home and arrested him on his own porch because he couldn't get his own door open, and a neighbor who lived by him every day talking about somebody was breaking in his house. And it was him. Who taught at the same damn university, walked past him every damn day. He looked like a criminal because his door is jammed and he over there trying to get his door open. And that don't look like your neighbor. You ain't like, neighbor, you need a screwdriver? No, you like, let me call the police. This man over here about to break in this door. Because that's all you see. That's all you train. Because that's what you see. Like, y'all stop. And I understand. Everybody came down on Barack Obama because he had the Beer Summit Day. So he's like, let me just pass this off to a committee. They'll set up the 21st century policing. Go out there on C-SPAN and watch the videos. The 21st century policing with all the black mayors and all the black top cops, and let them tell you how they're trying to get the training to a point of de-escalation and stop with the shoot to kill at will. How they took them to Amsterdam Poland, not Poland, Amsterdam. I'm trying to think where I know they went to Amsterdam. They went to another a couple places and realized, oh, this is not a problem around the world because they have other techniques. Well, the one technique that you need to have is not just swarm at the visual. Don't just swarm because another one is dead. Don't just take the black mothers on tour, Crump. Don't just take them on tour. Don't just go write a book and publish a book. Swarm. It's time to swarm. And I mean, like, put that visual out there that we are still a diaspora. We are still connected. We still care about each other. Because I know, you get your paycheck and you got your job and you can't say this, you can't like that, you can't share this, can't go to the swarm. You got your Malcolm X festival. Oh, I'm going to go, but I ain't going to post. I'm going to go get me a good kale wrap, but I ain't going to post it, because then somebody, honey, please, you better learn how to filter. You better go over there to AskDryerBuzz.com and learn how to filter so you won't be like me a day late trying to remember what was October the 16th and realizing it was the annual anniversary of the Man March. And I was thinking about a good kale wrap. Because I even posted the other day, I was like, because I knew it was time, because it's time to atone. My body is sending me sick. I'm like, man, I'm supposed to be eating something real raw and real fresh right now. What is it? Well, it's time to atone. It's time to fast. It's time to clean. It's time to detox. When do you do that? Around the Million Man March, October 16th. You kind of start getting stuff in order, from the Million Man March to Kwanzaa, and all those different things. You start, you already talking about the seasons change, but see, they got you so caught up with the swarm of pumpkin everything. You don't forgot you supposed to be swarming with the cat, with not the kid, not the kid, not the kid. You getting ready for the chili cook-off when you're supposed to be getting ready for the fast and the natural foods, getting ready planning the Kwanzaa menu, but atoning. You're supposed to be fasting and atoning, and I'm like, but you so messed up because all these other swarms and all these other signals are coming at you. You're in your kitchen trying to think about, because I know when I start seeing the pumpkin, I got to start countering all that pumpkin stuff with the sweet potato stuff, because we ain't doing no pumpkin up in here. We sweet potato. We team sweet potato up in here, right? Which means the yams. And the yams don't come but from one place, okay? Yams is not an American thing. Sweet potato, yeah, that's all they had. But you going to go try to find some yams, that means guess what? You got to go to a black business to get some yams. See? It's that season. I've been waiting on the first frost, because I want some. I'm not eating more collard greens until the first frost. Like, people are like, what you mean you're not eating collard greens? What you mean you eating collard greens? Why they do that? You ain't supposed to be eating no collard greens right about there. Collard greens ain't ready to the first frost. And my good girlfriend had to tell me that, like, I was gonna cook some. She's like, wait, you didn't wait for the frost? I'm like, okay, school me. I'm like, why I don't remember? Try walking in grandma's backyard to pick some of them collards. No. You're going to wait for the first frost because there's things that's got to happen, right? So all that good nutrient stuff is being there to go into your body. Okay? No, I'm not eating no mac and cheese. I know y'all running over there getting all that mac and cheese from all them places. I don't want no mac and cheese, not right now. I don't need all that cheese and dairy right about now. That's a winter food. Those are foods you eat after the harvest. Y'all ain't harvest. Harvest ain't ready. It ain't ready. And I'm being facetious because it's something that I'm coming back to in my own realization. So I'm not even trying to put it out there like that's something I've always known or always respected or always honored. I'm just saying, I think if we get back to these things, we wouldn't have to worry about a black woman dying in her own home in front of her nephew in 4 seconds, only given 4 seconds to identify herself. There wouldn't be nobody running up on her home with the guns drawn because the neighbor done said they need a wellness check. She can't even go visit her family. It's like, gosh. Imagine if there was a swarm just yesterday a small swarm. Imagine if there was a swarm just yesterday. That grand jury that's getting ready to convene and let this guy off the hook, they would be thinking twice. Because guess where a swarm should be happening? In Texas. But y'all didn't even want to. Why did we not roll up on Texas? Imagine if we swarmed on Texas for Juneteenth. Now, and I ain't saying swarm and spend hundreds of millions of dollars. I ain't saying go down there and profit everybody. I'm just saying, what if there was an annual swarm of us going to Texas, down there where the last of our people found freedom? The last of our people found free. Well, I ain't going to say the last of them because, hell, even after that, there was still some down here in Georgia just 20 years ago, 18 years ago. 18 years ago, and probably still to this day, there were people found in the state of Georgia, down, I guess, think it was somewhere down the line here, who didn't know they were free. Who didn't know they were free. Who didn't even know what was going on just up the road. Had no idea what was going on just up the road. Saw the people and like, whoa, what's this? Where they coming from? Who are they? What? No idea. Had no idea because we don't swarm enough. We don't swarm. I'm gonna thank y'all though for swarming on this podcast. Before I get out here, I did get a chance. Oh, positive passion. I do want to get on. I'm like, do I even go on a lighter note on this? I was gonna talk about the Falcons. I won't talk about them. Bad product on the field. How are they gonna fix it? I think, let me tell y'all, I have taken a glance at their social media. Social media is hurting the product. They posted some pictures of the Falcons out there working out. Let me see if I can I do this? Will this go over there? Hold on, let me switch. We'll go ahead and do a little bit on the Falcons. Nope, it didn't go. I didn't save it. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Did I get that one? Nope. All right. This one I know. Let me see. Nope. I'm going to have to go back to the picture. My videos, only because my iCloud is saving right about now. So that means my other videos are probably not going to play. I was going to play a couple videos. But since the conversation was so good about the swarm, I'm going to leave it there. And I got a chance to meet Sterling K. Brown. Let me shout him out. He was in Atlanta last night. Let me see. Can I put that on there? In this movie, Waves. It's actually coming to theaters. I think it's on the screen. That doesn't look right, so let me take that off. So I got a chance. I really wanted to play that video, but it went back to the cloud, so I can't play the video. Gosh darn it. One of the reasons I really wanted to meet Sterling, I have to say his name wrong every time. One of the reasons I really wanted to meet Sterling because this guy is amazing in what he is delivering now via his talent and his art. For those of you that watch This Is Us, and then this film. Now the film was a bit long, and it was still, he was really good. You've seen him in Black Panther. You've seen him in another show. So he's actually coming out in something else. And I think another couple of, he got a number of projects out there. But we watch him every week on Tuesdays in This Is Us. And This Is Us is us, y'all. It is us. People are just enamored with the relationship that he plays with his on-screen wife, Randall and Beth, the couple, and their family, and the things that, this television show runs the gamut of everything that everybody is dealing with. In its first couple of seasons, and you couldn't help but to cry every night, every episode. First season did us all in. This season and last season, it's taken a little bit for each show to kind of hit its climax, but you still love the moments of the Black love moments on this show, and it's about a family that adopted a Black guy. They had triplets and they lost a child. At the same time, he was quote unquote abandoned, and they took home 3 babies, and he was one along with their 2 surviving, and raised them as triplets, kind of, sort of, And so you got a chance to see that experience. Now For y'all that don't know, again, because we don't have the optics of it, Hollywood, blame Hollywood. Hollywood hasn't let us play together as much as we'd like to, and be in pretty much most of us, whatever perception we have, we get it through these screens. Now we've got our social media screens, we had our television screens, our movie screens, and then even before that, radio, and on through that radio, and then of course print, right? And so there were gatekeepers, and the gatekeepers are dying off, right? They're dying off and they're losing control. So we're getting more and more lens on just simply who we are. So, and I don't know about you guys, but I have friends that grew up, or friends or associates. I don't have friends. I have associates that grew up in those environments that were adopted into other families and lived with such an otherness. And we had otherness in the White House. Michelle Obama, in her book, Becoming Michelle Obama, talks about the this, the fact that she was a black female. She had her lineage, and she married Barack Obama, who, as you know, is a mixed kid, and had his lineage. And there's this otherness, and but she's also talked about the otherness is that part that we don't deal with, and so society hasn't necessarily dealt with it. So now we have this television show. But you have to always be mindful and respectful of the fact that somebody's life, it might not be yours. It might not be a discussion. This is some of y'all that irk my nerves on social media. It might not be it might not be a discussion that you have to have. But too often we just want to get in the way and not let the discussion happen. Like, I don't believe that. Why are we talking about this? Why is that happening? Why are these people in their emotions? Because it's their lives. It's their experiences. You got to let people you got to let everybody share out here. That was one of the reasons why I absolutely loved Twitter when Twitter came around. Even though we had already had audio, visual, chat rooms, and social media had run the gamut, Twitter came and dialed us back to just 140 characters, and even though it's a little bit more than now, just dialed us back to, okay, say something, but be clear and concise with it. And you can only engage with a person unless you read what they said in an entirety, right? You gotta, even though people still love to pick a word and go on that. I love the fact that Twitter made everybody's opinion count for something, even if it's Trump's, it's still, because you still need to know and let people express themselves. You go, okay, well, we can engage, we can agree to disagree, or we can just, realize, look, I never want to cross paths with this person, or I always want to be in the presence of this person. I need a little bit of this, or I need a little bit of that. You get to curate, you get to grant permissions. And I love coming on here and giving people their permission back. You get to grant permission for what is. Let me take that off and put myself back over there. You get to grant that permission. That's yours, right? You get to decide that. And so, here, let me do this one. I ain't used that one in a minute. Let me try. I got to sneeze. Bless me. Sorry, I had to see. There I am in the fall with my fall hat on. Y'all, somebody took my hat. That was me in the library as a blogger, always doing research. Let me tell y'all, the library, I got to sneeze again, I think. Let me sip my lemonade. The library is still your best co-working space for y'all who are looking for co-working space. I hope that canceled out the sneeze. But so go hang out in the library. Let me tell y'all, the library has gotten some amazing funding. Like I said, the gatekeepers are dying off, and some of these younger politicians are in there now, and they are busting these budgets wide open. Like, why is this $150,000 trillion sitting over here unspent? Because that little tightwad that was in that office before you wouldn't sign off on nothing. Okay, well, spend this $100,000 on these libraries. Spend this $2 million over here. So money's been spent all up and around us, and definitely in the library. So if you're looking for a co-working space, honey, go check out your new library. My favorite co-working space right now? The bowling alley. In fact, I'm probably going to end up going. Let me tell y'all. The bowling alley at lunchtime, it's so many meetings going on in the bowling alley. And I know, yeah, it's noisy. It's noisy, but honey, for those of you that like a bunch of white noise and sound around you, and some of the bowling alleys, honey, have upgraded the kitchen and the lounges and all that kind of stuff. I need to find a couple of those and get some sponsors on this thing. But they're pretty good. I was out and about last week and I couldn't. I had a couple of meetings and I couldn't get back. I had to wait for traffic to die down. And I was like, let me just go sit. I'm gonna go chill at the bowling alley, and I could work and edit. You know, I always editing podcasts and videos and things like that. But some of them still got the old kitchen, but some of them have really upgraded. And so if you're looking for just space, because I know everybody's at a work from home. A lot of people are at a work from home, and go chill out. Work from home is pretty much a work from anywhere right now, and I, you know me. You've heard me podcast. You've heard me podcast from anywhere. But I'm gonna get out of here at 1 hour and 20 into this. And just to remind you guys that how to get out of bed. We're gonna go ahead and do a buzzer to bash it because there's so much that has us scrolling and trolling. And I actually have an offer that I'm considering about doing a morning show. I just don't want to drive nowhere. I don't. So I'm pondering some decisions, but when I think about what I want to do this season, I don't know that I will be stationary enough to do that. But buzzer or bash it, go over there. Let me tell you. If you go to DryerBuzz.com, I'm trying to bring this back up and look down the timeline and make sure I have everything. If you go to DryerBuzz.com, if you heard us say anything, or you looking for something, you can, let me go over to the page because I think I had one more thing, but let's see here. Come on, thing. It's like, no, I don't want to participate. I don't want to participate in whatever it is you're trying to do right now. I tell you, Facebook. I'm trying to go over here. And again, I'm seeing more shares. Oh, I know what I need to tell you. When we talk about Tatiana, her services are this weekend at the Potter's House in Texas. And so I think Friday are private services, and then Saturday will be her services. Just like that, y'all. Just like that. Just gone. Brilliant young lady. Pre-med she was. But just gone. Because this officer, he doesn't have the optics of the swarm. He does. They know once they hurt us, we'll pull out. Look at the dog. It's like, you finished. They know that, we'll pull out a podium, we'll say some things. We'll add another black mother to the tour, black grandmother. We'll add them to the tour. They'll get to go to all the quote unquote annual $1 million conventions that black organizations do. They just wrapped up a season of, and let me tell y'all, black organizations just spent, I count them. Let me tell y'all, for every black organization that has an annual convention, you can add $100 million. Because, and this was back in the day, they used to send me these press releases. We're going to D.C. and we're going to Texas. We're going to Bahamas and we're going here and there. And we're going to spend $100 million. We're going to infuse $100 million into the ecosystem. So if you think about all these organizations, all of them with these annual conventions, $100 million a piece, right? Now to that, and you could actually say $150 million, because if you go on there, go to the organization's page. I'm gonna tell y'all how to do this. When you see them, go to their conference or their convention page, and you go over to the sponsors or the advertisers. Let me see. Let me check this out right quick. Hold on. That was Sean saying good morning. I know you heard me. You heard me, guys talking. I was pulling that up, trying to catch that. If you go over to any organization that you hear out there, I'm talking sororities, fraternities. I'm talking 100 black men, 100 black women. I'm talking NAACP. Start at the NAACP. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go over to the NAACP website, and I want you to look for the link that says fund a project. I want you to go. I want you to look up there. Submit for a grant. I want you to find those links. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was cricket. I'm just saying. But then I want you to go. I want you to go to the NAACP website, and I want you to go to the where it says convention, and then I want you to go down there. There's a PDF down there for the sponsors, and I want you to look at that sponsor list, and you're gonna see $100,000 to sponsor a reception, 150,000. Hell, let's do it in real time. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it in real time. Let me see if my other device will let me. Oh, I've got a whole desktop sitting here. I hate the desktop, y'all. I hate my desktop. Let me see. Hold on. Let me go. NAACP. Let's. I'm gonna give you some math. I'm gonna give you some math. Cause I'm sorry. Yesterday was the Day of Atonement. Yesterday was the Day of Atonement, and what did it say? Acknowledge what's wrong. Let's acknowledge what's wrong. Because if you go over to the NAACP and you say you need money, now you need money to bury Atiana. Where are we gonna get that from? It's at the Potter's house. That's the largest church down there. Somebody's paying for that NAACP convention. All right, so we're gonna go. Y'all heard me typing, heard my nails. Let's see, NAACP convention about the convention. As a matter of fact, theirs is what is that? There's something coming up that says October. Did they move it? Okay, their old PDFs are coming up. That's something in my search history. All right, 110th. Wait, damn, they got number. They shouting out numbers all over the place on this thing. Okay, the national convention is a recap, but then they got join us in Detroit, the 50th annual NAACP experience, whatever that is. Let's see here. All right, so you got your press center, and they've got credentials, but then there's a sponsor link. There's a sponsor link on here, y'all. I don't see the get a grant. I don't see the help me find. Let me see. Okay, submit for funding. I don't see that. I don't see apply for a grant. I don't see fund your project. I don't see fund your community center. I don't see that, but I see sponsors. And then I'm looking for where's that nice little PDF there? Hotels, getting here, parking, free events. I'm on the sponsor page, but I guess since it's already happened, I don't see that PDF that I'm looking for. There's a PDF. Presenting sponsor was Airbnb. Now that ought to tell you something. Airbnb got up here beyond the chairman sponsors. Airbnb is the first one. The president sponsors, game changers, advocacy sponsors, partner sponsors. But I don't see the link. I don't see it. Let's see. Hold on. I know it's there. Is it under the about? Hold on. I know where it is. NAACP.org. I'm going over to NAACP. I know I need to end this. We got a few minutes. We got 2 minutes. Hold on. I see become a member, donate. Let's see here. I want that. I want it. Okay, so they don't have that footer on there. Y'all know I want to find this, right? Oh, don't forget let me tell you, the census is coming up. Don't forget the census is coming up. Oh, the Image Awards is also, let me see. Link for scholarships way down here. Employment scholarships at youth organization. Hold on here. Nope. There's that PDF. I knew I'd find it. You are listening to How to Buzz It or Bash It with DryerBuzz. Okay, these are the. Okay, so this is the Image Awards. So if you want to sponsor the Image Awards, the presenting sponsor is $500,000, premier sponsor $250,000, primary sponsor $200,000, supporting sponsor $150,000, partner sponsor $100,000, submission sponsor $250,000, social media and digital sponsor $200,000. Entertainer of the Year sponsor, $150,000. Hospitality Suite sponsor. Now, y'all know I loves me a good hospitality suite, $50,000. Hotel Key sponsor, $50,000. Those are some of the sponsorship. Now, that's just for the Image Awards. And the sad part about it is, even in those amounts, and you look at the sponsor page, you don't even, it's not even overwrought with black businesses. It's like those amounts right there. In fact, I don't even see a bevy of black brands on here. In fact, I can't even point out one. Okay, so I'm like, seriously, at those amounts, and we always talk about support black business. Let's get back to the swarm. We always talk about support black business, and those amounts right there, less than all of them less than $100,000. I mean, less than $500,000. $500,000 is the top one. Top one. No, the premier sponsor. What year was this? No way. Yeah, this is a PDF for what year? 2016, 2017. Okay, so at that time, and even at that amount, it's still major brands who major brands that we have issue with in our community. See, that's another thing. When things happen, I mean, we've had some I'm not even gonna say who these brands are, but we've had backlash with pretty much all of them. We've had some backlash and lashback with pretty much all of these sponsors. So that's what they do. They're like, okay, go sponsor something at the NAACP, and then I'll be okay. The presenting sponsor was $500,000. Like, when you start seeing the Image Awards and you see that name, that immediate name, they bought us for less than $1 million. Stop it. It should be 10, 15, 20, $100 million at this point. Because we're talking about black excellence. We're talking about black excellence. And you know, and talk about the swarm. Look how many people are still giving pushback on just celebrating Black History Month. Like, why is it February? Why is it the short of? Because of the birthdays that it acknowledged. I was about to say something else, right? Because of the births in February that are acknowledged for Black History Month. Because it's a made up holiday, just made up celebration, just like everything else. But guess what? Now everybody got a month. There's a month. Everybody got a month out there now. Even like the Oscars, everybody want to go to the Oscars. Well, guess what? We were celebrating Black History Month years before the Oscars. We were honoring each other so much so you out there trying to be second when you were actually first. Stop it. That's why you need to swarm more. Swarm, y'all. Okay, listen, get off my podcast. Go find your swarm. I don't even know if I want to be able to play the outro because I've been on a long time. And it's like, wait, you adding more to this phone. We can't take it all. Yes, I am doing this podcast on my phone. If you want to learn how to rock a podcast, meet me over here at AskDryerBuzz.com. I will tell you how you can rock a podcast. Like, girl, how you find time to podcast daily? I always have a lot to say, number one. And I have time to do that. And I want it to be done by 11, and I'm about to be done at 11. But listen, swarm, y'all. Especially swarm this weekend for all the hearts that are broken, that we lost a sister. We lost a great sister, a young pre-med student doing everything right. Everything right. They keep telling us it's something y'all are doing. It's something y'all are doing wrong. It's something y'all are doing that keeps making these cops and these people uneasy. Honey, this is God's green earth. God's green earth. And y'all keep taking from us and keep taking, you're going to cause us to swarm. I'm just saying. But go get your swarm on and figure out what it is you need to do. Atone. I'm going to ask you to stop and atone. I know we're a day late. We are, in fact, a day late. And if I need to, I want to end. I do want to end on this again, on this March. Let me go back. I'm just going to go through the top 8. And I know it's men. And let me tell you, get to a point where the man in your life can step into this role where he can point out the wrongs, acknowledge the wrongs, confess the fault, repentance, atonement, forgiveness, reconciliation, and perfect our union. Let the person in your life get to that point where y'all can do that, y'all. Even a day late. Thanks a lot, Facebook, for telling us a day late that yesterday was the 24th anniversary of the Million Man March. But listen, we're headed into Kwanzaa season, and some of us are going to talk about it early. So get ready. Stop downplaying your unique traits. Stop covering, guys, and people will stop coming at us. All right, everybody. Let me see. If I can get you to do me this favor. Nope. It ain't gonna do it. It's like, no, you've been on too long. All right, y'all. I do thank y'all for listening to Buzz It or Bash It. Go to DryerBuzz.com. Follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But listen, if you go to DryerBuzz.com, you'll be able to choose your channel. All right.